The end is finally here as we are strapping in for our 5th outing with the Underworld franchise. As today, we're saying goodbye to Celine as we talk about 2017's Underworld Blood Wars.
Flip the switches to maximum amplification as Parker, Dan, and Angela prepare for their operation. With trivia and plot points scrawled across their walls, laughter and debate erupts as the movie's drama calls. The world may call them crazy, minds gone astray, but genius and passion and madness all dance the same way. Now the show begins to rise from its broadcast realm, and you can open your eyes as we dissect that film.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dissect That Film Podcast, a podcast that dissects the good, the bad, and the ugly of cinema. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, are my wonderful co-host, over there, Dan and Angela, D-Day Gaming!
Hello.
Hello. I forgot that I'm looking at my camera as we're recording, and I'm like, oh, that's why. It's because my camera's not mirrored, so I'm going to fix that real quick. Hey, there we go. So now it's, there you are.
Yay.
And joining us, because we couldn't fathom not having this person on to talk about at least one of the movies in this franchise. He is a huge supporter of this show, and he's also a co-host of his own podcast called the Geeks with Beards podcast. We have the wonderful Daniel Collins on the show. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all the support that you throw our way. We couldn't do this without you, and we wouldn't be covering this franchise without the help of you and Brad, who's also been here a couple times to talk about a couple of these movies. So it's come full circle, and we're finally at the end. I say finally, but like, are we sad about it? I don't know. We're going to talk about it some more.
I didn't cry very much.
No, it was just a few tears.
Yeah.
But before we get into our histories and all that with Underworld Blood Wars, Daniel, you're a first-time guest on the show, so please introduce yourself and what is the Geeks with Beards podcast all about?
Yeah, I'm Daniel from the Geeks with Beards podcast. We are a comic book review podcast. We read comics from all different eras, and we talk about them. Sometimes they're first reads for me and my co-host, and we try to do it every couple of weeks. And we also have a YouTube channel that we do little toy reviews, 7-12-minute toy reviews. And yeah, that's basically kind of the sum it up of right there what we do. But we have a lot of fun at it, and I hope that your listeners and watchers will tune in at some point and maybe enjoy some comic book reviews as well.
Absolutely. Everything Geeks with Beards will be down in the description of the video, in the show notes, all that. So make sure to check it out. If you're if you're into toys, comics, movies, anything, or just, hanging out with some cool people, Geeks with Beards, or just, Daniel is a wonderful person to talk to about all those things and more. So check it out. Another thing I want to talk about before we get into the show is the fact that I don't actually know. Yeah, I'm trying to think, when is this episode going to be out? Will it be out? It might actually be out the Friday that the event is happening. We are participating in the live stream for The Cure, May 17th at noon, but it's an event that goes from today, if you're listening to this, on Friday, May 16th. It's going to be going from 4 p.m. to midnight, and then on Saturday, it starts at 8 a.m. and goes to midnight that day. And a lot of amazing podcasters are going to be participating to try to raise money for cancer research. It's a great event, and there's a lot of shenanigans and fun to be had, and we hope that we have a good event and a good segment and raise a lot of money for a great cause. So make sure to check it out May 16th and May 17th. It's going to be on twitch.tv/livestream for The Cure, and our segment again will be on May 17th at noon. All right, Underworld Blood Wars. we need to share our history of this movie. So we'll start with our guest, Daniel. What is your history with Underworld?
I watched it in theaters when it came out. I think I've only watched 3, 4, and 5 in theaters. And like I told you on Discord, I think 4 and 5 were only in 3D. I wasn't a big 3D person in the 2000s. I don't know. I didn't feel like it needed to be 3D. But yeah, I watched it in theaters. I like it. I have problems. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But overall, I enjoy it. I think the whole franchise is great, in my opinion.
All right. Angela, do you have a history with this movie?
Just a few hours ago. That's
all right.
about it.
Same with you, Dan?
Correct.
All right. Yep. Yesterday or Friday was my first time seeing this movie. So yes, we are all going in fresh. And Daniel is going to be the man leading us through this.
Yes.
Very cold, snowy breakdown. So yeah, this was a movie that I remember seeing the trailers for, and I'm like, and I think it was at the rate that I didn't even see 4. So I was like, wow, they're still making Underworld movies. This is wild, because as I've stated before in other episodes, I only watched the first 2. I didn't even watch Rise of the Lycans when it came out. So like 3, 4, and 5 were all first time watches for me, and I think they were all first time watches for you guys, right? Did
Correct.
Okay, I wasn't. I can't remember if one of you guys had seen Rise of the Lycans. But yeah, it was interesting to go through and to kind of see, oh boy, is it going to run into what most franchises run into, which is just like running out of steam, running out of ideas. Underworld has stayed at kind of a relatively like fine line. I don't think they've really dove into, like, as I've talked about many times, and some people here probably won't agree, Resident Evil did, where it was like, it was okay, and then it was like, oh no, someone saved them. This has kind of it's in that fine line, and I think the main reason for that is Kate Beckinsale and what she brings to the role of Celine. And even if the movie suffers story-wise, she is still able to kind of, elevate it to an enjoyable level, and the effects are usually good enough to keep me invested in whatever the hell is going on, even if half of it's either stupid as hell or doesn't make any sense. But yeah, now we're jumping into the final Underworld. At least that's what we got. I don't think that was their initial plan. Brad mentioned it last week that they actually were thinking about doing one in space after this. And I was like, what? Especially after watching this movie, I'm like, what? It doesn't even make any sense. But here we are. And
I know they were talking about maybe doing one as early as 2021, I think. And I remember reading something that Kate said that she wasn't interested, and then she kind of backpedaled. She's like, well, maybe I might be interested to come back. I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to see another one or not.
Yeah. I don't want to say like Kate Beck. When you think of Kate Beckinsale, you think of the Underworld movies, but that's ultimately what I think about. Like, Of course, she's done she's done a lot of stuff, and she's actually still been doing quite a few things outside of this movie. I mean, this movie now is 7-8 years old. So she's definitely been out there doing things, but I feel Underworld is kind of what has kept her relevant to a degree. I mean, for me, it was like Underworld, it was Van Helsing, which was funny enough, as we talked about before, that she played a vampire for 5 movies, and then in that movie she played someone who was trying to kill a vampire. So pretty crazy. And she was also in Pearl Harbor, which was a movie I saw in the theater.
Was she a vampire in that?
Kind of.
Oh, okay, fair.
No, she was just a girl who was with a guy, and then he supposedly dies, and then she ends up with his best friend. But then his best friend didn't die, so now there's a love triangle during an actual event that happened during World War II, or actually the event that led us into going into World War II. It's a wild ass movie, and when you read that Michael Bay directed it, you go, all right, kind of makes sense. All right.
I think,
is there a bit with animal crackers?
An Adam Sandler movie too, wasn't she? Click, I believe.
Oh, that's right. She was in Click,
I believe, and of course the Total Recall remake.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, we try to forget about that one. That of course we talked about how that Len Wiseman directed that, and that was the reason that he didn't direct the 4th Underworld. So Wild stuff. But here we are. Underworld Blood Wars. It was directed by Anna Forster, who has only done one other movie after she did this one. It was called Lou. It was a Netflix exclusive that had Allison Janney and Journey Smollett. And that's about it.
Fake name.
She's no, Journey Smollett was in Full House. Okay. She was she was one of Stephanie's best friends. And now she's been in a shit ton of stuff. Yes.
Was she, dear?
I don't know.
You watched Full House.
Was she in Fuller House?
How many years ago?
No, she didn't. I don't think she showed up for any of the Fuller House stuff. She was too big at that time.
Okay.
She was out being a whore.
Whoa.
Just kidding.
Jesus.
Just kidding.
Okay.
That
I don't know her.
Quickly.
It's just a joke.
It's just
I mean, hey, got to pay the bills. I mean,
gotta do what you got to do. We're not judging.
Do what you got. Exactly. Do what you got.
I guarantee that's not her line of work. Oh man, but Anna Forster, she was a second unit cinematographer for Roland Emmerich for a long time. She was actually the cinematographer for the visual effects on Independence Day, Godzilla '98.
There you go.
Pitch Black, which we talked about on the Flicks and Friends podcast a little bit ago, and Stuart Little 2. Gotta love it.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that was what she did mostly. And like I said, she only did 2 movies, and then she did work in TV. She actually directed an episode of that Dune Prophecy show that came out, I think, earlier this year or late last year. She directed an episode of Jessica Jones, Westworld, Outlander, and Criminal Minds, and some of its spin-offs.
So she's still working. She's
still doing things. Yeah.
That's good.
Screenplay was done by Corey Goodman. Story was done by Kyle Ward and Corey Goodman. Len Wiseman was still a producer, but I don't think he really was much involved in this. This was, I think, the first Underworld movie that he didn't write or had a handwriting. The cinematography was done by Carl Walter Linderlob. He was a cinematographer for Roland Emmerich for Universal Soldier, Stargate. I forgot that Roland Emmerich directed Universal Soldier. I didn't even know. I thought Stargate was his first movie, but I digress.
Okay.
Actually, his first movie was technically called Hollywood Monster in 1987. So there you go. He did Independence Day. Let's see. I just saw, The Haunting, Jan de Bont's Haunting, which is not good. The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. And the latest one, or one that I saw and I went, wow, that was not a good movie, was Brahms the Boy 2. Do you guys remember The Boy? It was a movie about a woman who was hired to babysit a doll that this family pretended to be their kid because their kid actually died. But then like weird shit starts happening. Well, they made a sequel.
Normal.
Yeah. And also he was a cinematographer for that 9 Lives movie that Barry Sonnenfeld, that ruined Barry Sonnenfeld's career.
Hey, that's good. That's a legacy to have.
His 2016 was literally 9 Lives in Underworld Blood Wars. So what a difference there.
Hell of a 1-2 punch.
Yeah. So this movie, a lot of places say that it's a 2016 movie because it was released internationally November 24th, 2016. In the Czech Republic was December 8th, 2016, but in the US it wasn't released till January 6th. So like sometimes you'll see that it says it's a 2017 movie, some say it's a 2016 movie. I don't know. Whatever you want it to be. It was filmed in the Czech Republic and the United States. It had a budget of $35 million and a box office of $81.1 million. It was the lowest grossing Underworld movie. Also had a $35 million budget in 2016 is, for a movie of this scale, I feel, is wild. That's less than the first Deadpool. And people were all up in like, holy shit, the first Deadpool only cost $55 million to make. And yet we're 5 movies into the Underworld franchise and it's only $35 million. That's crazy. I feel like they were like, yeah, we know this ain't going to make a lot of money. Are people coming out in droves to watch Underworld 5?
I think they only took, 4 weeks to shoot it?
Yeah, it was a quick one. Which it looks good for a movie that was only filmed in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
There's some visuals that are like, and we'll talk about it when we get there, but it does, like, just reading about that, I was like, well, I feel like I got to change my tune about some of the thoughts I have on this movie. The fact that it has a crazy low budget and it was filmed in like a month. Like, that's wild for an action movie of this scale at this far into a franchise. Like, yes, franchises do go on there are franchises that go on way too long. Their budgets drop to next to nothing, and it probably takes like a week to make them, but not at the degree of Underworld. You still have your core main actress who's been there since the beginning. Like, you still have some like pretty decent sized actors. Like, I think Theo James at this point was pretty big. I don't think he was huge, but I mean, he was doing this, I think, during was this before or after the Divergent movies?
Divergent started in 2014.
Okay, so it was like during it.
During the time, yeah.
That's crazy.
They were on their third by 2016.
Wow.
By the time they both came out the same year. So
he was doing the Divergent movies and Underworld movies at the same time. That's crazy. So, like, you have him, you have Charles Dance.
Yep.
Like, and this is during Game of Thrones. Yep. Like, Game of Thrones is happening during this movie, and there are like 5 actors in this movie who are in Game of Thrones at some capacity. So, absolutely insane. It was filmed in the Czech Republic. That's why I think it got the release date in the Czech Republic first.
Yep.
Going through our cast, we got Kate Beckinsale back as Celine. I love how they put a death dealer. Like, we know. We've watched them. We've seen these movies. We got it.
There's a reminder at the beginning of every single one. This is what I did. This is who I am.
Theo James is back as David. Laura Pulver, she's one of the actors who's in Game of Thrones. I don't know who she played, but she's in it.
She has done a voice for the animated, or not animated, but I forget what it said. But she did a voice.
Oh, okay. She played Samira. Let's see. I think. Oh yeah, she did a voice for the Witcher animated show.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
What said?
And then in Game
animated movie.
Or anime, was it an animated movie? Oh yeah, it was an animated film called Nightmare of the Wolf.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
So
I swear to God, she said she was.
She voiced Lady Forrester in the Telltale Games series of Game of Thrones.
I forgot that Telltale even did a Game of Thrones.
It was decent. I like the Batman's way better.
Yeah, I really like the Batman one. She is currently in the brand new series on Paramount Plus with Pierce Brosnan and Tom Hardy called Mobland, which I have to check out. I've heard it's really good. Tobias Menzies. This is a guy, he played Marius. He's a guy that I saw in the movie and I went, I recognize this guy. And then I go to look at what he's been in. He's a Game of Thrones actor. He played Edmure Tully. I've never seen Game of Thrones, but there you go. He played Prince Philip in the 3rd and 4th season of The Crown. So anybody who watches that on Netflix, he played Prince Philip. But I was looking at other things. I was like, nope, I don't recognize him from anything that I'm thinking of. But yeah, he is the new big bad in this movie. We have Bradley James as Varga, who is just he's a guy. Peter Anderson, Peter Anderson as Vidar. James Faulkner as Cassius. Clementine Nicholson as Lena. Clementine Nicholson, this was her first job. She said she was 4 weeks out of drama school when she got cast for this movie. She's like, this is a pretty sweet gig for your first gig to be part of a major franchise. It's pretty good. So good for her. And I think she did pretty good in this movie. Daisy Head is Alexia. Didn't know this girl's name the entire time I'm watching this movie. She plays... Yeah, Alexia, who is like, she works for the main vampires, but then crazy things happen. I went, someone said her name, right? I don't know who she is. I see her face. I'm like, it's that girl again.
She's the Lost Olsen.
Seriously.
Yeah.
To be honest, it was weird because I was like, not to spoil like some of the plot. I thought it was Eve. I thought like Eve joined the vampires and like, but she's like under a different name.
Yeah.
Because she kind of resembles the girl that played Eve in the last movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then, like as I said, Charles Dance is back as Thomas. And then Trent Garrett plays Michael in this movie in the flashbacks or in like the vision scenes. It's not Scott Speedman, so. Scott Speedman. Who cares? Goddamn Speedman.
The final.
He could have at least played the death scene. Damn it!
I know,
right? The cocksucker.
Really?
To be honest,
We might. What else is this motherfucker doing?
Nothing.
That's what he's doing. Get in there, Scott.
Let's see. What were you doing in 2017, Scott Speedman? Let's see. Let's go down.
Nothing.
Let's look. Let's see. Nothing. You were in a movie called The Monster. What is that?
It's probably not about monsters. I guarantee it.
Is that movie about the monster truck or something?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's a monster horror film. It was directed by the guy who did The Strangers.
Really?
Oh.
Yep.
It
was an A24 movie.
Dude, he only got grandfathered in because he was in the fucking Strangers. That's it.
Yep. Damn you, Scott Speedman. Damn you. You know what's crazy? Speaking of Scott Speedman, I didn't realize he was in an episode of Goosebumps. He was in the Say Cheese and Die episode, which literally also has Ryan Gosling in it. That was like one of his first roles. Yep.
Damn, I don't remember either of them.
Yep.
Shit. I want to go back and watch it.
There we are.
Scott Speedman.
Howdy, I'm Luke from the Howdy Beans podcast, a variety podcast where I look into topics each week into the world of pop culture, like book reviews, where I delve deep into the expanded universe of Doctor Who, or a movie review on the 1998 cult classic The Mummy, or if you're very lucky, I might take a peek under the hood of video games both new and old. So what are you waiting for? Check out the Howdy Beans podcast now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else that you may find your podcast, and I'll see you very soon.
All right. Well, I think it's about time to jump into the plot of Underworld. Blood Wars.
Yeah, just fucking do it.
As the poster says, protect the bloodline. All right, here we go. It is time to dissect that. Boom. So guess what?
Tried.
Hey guys, how does this movie open?
Flashback. Again.
Previously on Underworld. But instead, it's just a recap of the entire franchise told by Celine. Like, literally, the entire franchise is just told to us. It's so dumb.
And she's been alive for 1,000 moons.
Like, okay, thanks, Celine. We know you keep telling us the same story.
This is like this. I've come to the conclusion after watching these. This is just better Resident Evil movies.
It really is.
It is.
I
they all start about the same. It centers around this one fucking lady, and I like her way more than I do Alice. So,
yeah, me too. And no offense to Mila Jovovich, I do like you. I just don't care for those goddamn movies, and I will not stop talking about it. Yes. I digress. So yeah, we find out that Eve was hidden away, and I feel like the only reason she's hidden away is because they couldn't get the actress back to play Eve, and so they're like, we gotta do the Scott Speedman effect, and we gotta either hide her away somewhere or kill her. And so we decided we're just gonna hide her. And it's one of those things where she didn't even tell Celine where she's being hidden because she doesn't want her to look for her. And you're like, oh, so we're not gonna see her at all.
Except in flashbacks.
Except for flashbacks and something else. And then we get the title card. One last time, baby. Blood Wars. So we're with Celine. She's riding her motorcycle and she's being hunted not just by vampires, but by the Lycans. So she is like an outcast all around. And it's like the main mission for both sides to find and kill Celine. And she wipes out a bunch of the vampires. She crashes and then they like capture her. They like shoot a bunch of these like harpoon things into her. And you're like, oh no. Not 5 minutes into the movie, is Celine gonna die? No. She's just gonna like look like she's getting her ass beat, and then she's gonna snap out of it and just beat the shit out of all these dudes.
I don't think they were vampires. I think they were Lycans.
Oh, these were the Lycans that were fighting her. But you find out, but she says like that she's being hunted by both Lycan and vampires. CG looks rough in this first scene. Like the Lycans when they turn, you're like, oh no, what happened? And then I look and I'm like, oh, the budget. That's what happened. So yeah, Theo James just pops back. He's like, yep, I'm still here. I'm in 2 movies now. So I'm officially in the same amount of movies as Scott Speedman.
He is, dude. He's the new Scott Speedman.
But to be honest, I like Theo James. I think his character is good. Like he's well written. And to be honest, like as much as funny as it is that we keep going, where's Scott Speedman? we talked about it in Evolution. Scott Speedman was nothing. He was such a nothing character, but I felt like the story would have progressed better if he was still around. But it's the whole Celine being sad all the time that just kind of got annoying after a while. Like, oh God, you had to kill Scotty. But no, I like Theo James. I like his character and what he does. And I like where he goes in this one, which we'll get into more detail. But yeah, he's looking for Eve. And Celine's like, I don't know where she is, so I can't tell you where she is. And even if I knew where she was, I'm not going to tell you where she is. But he doesn't really state why he's looking for her, does he? He just wants to know where she is.
I think he says it's to save the vampire race. I believe he says.
Oh, okay. Like oh, yeah, because he's like involved.
The Lycans are looking for her as well.
Right. So we find out about a new lead Lycan named Marius. He's the big dog. And
literally.
Yeah, seriously, he is the big dog. And then you find out that he has something in bed, like a bullet. Like, I don't even remember seeing him get shot. I was confused. Okay.
I think I shot in the leg, though.
David?
It must have been so fast because I did not see it. I even rewound it and went, when did he get hit? But he
he got shot by the one Lycan that she told to go take Marius a message. He got shot like in the gut, like in the stomach.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked like a little drill bit.
Well, yeah, when she pulls it out.
Yeah.
Charles Dance is back, which is always a plus. Like anytime that man speaks, I'm just like, please read me a book someday. Why is this man not doing audiobooks? I don't know. And we're at the hangout spot of the Eastern Coven, and I'm like, wow, this is a flashback to the first movie. It's the same scene. They literally walk into the mansion and it's just random vampires hanging out in the downstairs. And somebody walks through the door. Everyone's got to turn and stare. Like, what is this? Who is that?
Who's that? Oh no.
Yeah. You find out the vampires are super low in numbers. They're being hunted left and right. And it could be the end of the species as a whole. We meet Samira, who is like, she's not really the head of this coven. She's part of the council. But she's the one who talks to Charles Dance and Thomas about like the situation they're in. And he's just like, hey, Celine, she's the answer. Like she fucked a Lycan. She had she fucked a hybrid. She has a hybrid kid. And so she's probably the answer. And she's a former death dealer. So she's killed a lot of Lycans in her time. And she's like, I don't know. I'd have to persuade. I can't even remember. What's the other guy's name on the council?
Cassius.
Who's like Cassius? Thank you.
Cassius, yeah. And that thing that got me about it was they only mention her killing Victor. They don't mention her killing Marcus. Like it's always just Victor is why they're mad at her for.
Yeah, because they say, oh yeah, she killed one of her own. I was like, I think she killed two of her own.
Killed two of them. I get it with Samira because I think she was supposed to be like Victor's number 2. She said before Celine came around.
Oh yeah. Because
so she was jealous.
Yeah, of all three of she killed 2 out of the 3 elders. I understand why they're pretty pissed. I like the activation of the shades where the house is like 60 seconds to sunrise. I was like, that's pretty cool.
You notice they're vague references to the last film?
Refresh my memory.
Where they're like the Western whatever council has fallen, and they're just talking about America.
Yeah, well, they're talking about the one that Charles Dance was part of in the like bowels.
Yeah, that's like our only reference to like everything that happened in the last.
They don't talk. Well, that's the thing. They don't talk about. Well, this is also, you got to remember in the last movie, it's like a 12-year jump from the beginning of that movie to like what's happening. But they never make mention of the fall of whatever coven Celine was part of in the first movie.
Yeah. I just assumed that all this stuff in the last movie, the 5th movie or 4th movie, was all took place in the States. Because obviously they're not.
Yeah. I think so.
So I'm assuming that's.
Yeah, we talked about it last week that it had to have been either the US or some other, like it was filmed in Canada. It was filmed in Vancouver, I believe. And so yeah, they probably it took the place of the US, but yeah, that was the one that Charles Dance was in. I love how the Eastern Coven is in like this beautiful mansion, but yet the Western Coven was in like the sewers.
Yep.
And apparently the humans are not a threat anymore like they were in the last movie.
No shit.
Yeah, the whole hunting of Lycans and vampires. Nope, we're done. We stopped. We quit.
It's almost like it's a reset, but not a reset.
Yeah, but yet we're going to remind you of all the things that happened in all 4 movies. Even the prequel.
Even the prequel.
That Celine had no part of. She wasn't even a vampire yet, which is very confusing. We talked about that, how confusing the timeline is when they threw in the Rise of the Lycans, because it just kind of just makes sense. So yeah, Marius shows up, and to be honest, when he shows up, I'm like, this just looks like a Temu version of Lucian.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he does have a cool scar, though.
He does, which never gets explained. Nope. Never know where that scar came from. He didn't explain it to us like the Joker does, or at least tries to a couple times.
Well, the way he walks in, you see him from the back.
I thought it was Lucian.
He is Lucian.
Yeah.
I was like, "Whoa, Lucian's back!" I was like, "Sweet." And I was like, "Who the fuck is this tall drink asshole?" Like, I don't even know who.
I'm not saying this man isn't like. I always feel bad when you're like, it's the Temu version of this person. Like, this man is an ugly motherfucker. No, I'm not saying that. But like Lucian, Michael Sheen, yeah, that's Michael Sheen we're talking about here. And this guy's like, yeah, they make him look exactly like Lucian. I swear everyone in that theater probably was thinking the same thing. Like, oh my God, Lucian's, oh, damn it.
Well, it's like the director said in the commentary I think I watched, that basically they wanted to bring back the first movie, appearance of the first movie. So I guess that's what they thought they were going to do. It's like, okay, we got the castle again and the outfits, so let's bring back a Lucian character.
Kind of feels, I mean, I could see that. It kind of feels like the first movie. It really,
it
like the look, like it doesn't feel cheap. Like we talked about, like the budget was only $35 million. I think the first one had a bigger budget than this. Yeah. And it has that same aesthetic. Like it never feels cheap. I mean, some of the visual effects do look questionable at times. There are some good, and there are some like, oh no. But overall, it still looks good. That's the thing about these movies; they're pretty consistent. So yeah, the reveal of Marius is very underwhelming. I do like when he walks in and he sees the two guys like looking like they're about to fight. He's like, "Are you a slave?" And he's like, "No, stop acting like one." I was like, oh, okay, that's definitely a Lucian line, because that's the same thing when he walks in and sees those two Lycans fighting, and he's just like, oh, do we act like dogs? And I was like, that, except for that line sounded way cooler.
Dude, that's what they, like I said, they try to build him up like another Lucian, but then as you watch the movie, he's like, this dude just isn't.
He's just not. He's not
remotely.
No history on him or anything. He just appears.
Nope. Yeah, where was he? Where I understand, like we're 12 years in the future from when Celine gets caught, and to be honest, I think the first 2 movies up until the 4th, they're all relatively in close timeline. I think the 4th one literally starts right after the second one. Like they're doing things shortly after that. And then the second one takes place like literally continues from the first one. So it can't, like, I'm guessing 13 years. Where has Marius been? Where was
I guess he may be just, I'm sorry, I guess he's mainly just been in the Eastern Coven over there. So maybe she knew nothing about him.
Right.
Yeah, she knew nothing about him because David had to tell her about him.
I get that, but like it's one of those things where you're dealing with the elders in the first 2, right? And you're dealing with Lucian, who is like the big dog when it comes to the Lycans, right? Yeah. But he's just a Lycan. Where now you have like Uber Lycans and all this crazy shit going on. It's like Marius just shows up and you're like, who is fucking Marius? Like, did he work for Lucian? And he was just kind of a grunt who just like after Lucian died, he just kind of went off and did his own thing. I don't know. That's the problem with this movie is there's like, as much as I don't want things to be over explained to me, just something would have been nice to kind of explain why this guy is the way he is, because we've talked about it in the prior episodes where the first movie was supposed to make it look like the Lycans are the bad guys, the vampires are the good guys. And then there's the twist where you find out that Bill Nighy's character is bad. He's actually not a good guy, Victor. And then you find out that Lucian is actually a good guy, that he's actually just trying to better his species. He's trying to make sure they stay free, and he's taking out revenge because he was with Victor's daughter. And there's like a whole really good, well done story between 3 movies. And then the 4th one was just like, I don't know where to go from here, because we don't have any of these characters left except for Celine. And now we're going to get rid of Michael, who is the only thing keeping that together. And now we're going to introduce new characters. It's like when you introduce new characters 4 movies in, you know that trouble is on the horizon. And and this movie is just like, hey, let's introduce more new characters that are somehow deeply involved in both species, but yet we've never heard of them before. And you're like, okay, sure, let's see how this goes. And yeah, it goes places. So Marius's big mission is he wants to find Eve, or he wants to find Selene, because they need her blood to be, does he say to become immortal? I'm like, aren't you a Lycan? Aren't you already immortal?
It doesn't really give details in the movie, but I think the Wikipedia says something about making all the Lycans like hybrids so they could be immune to silver, I believe. Oh, but I don't think he mentions it in the movie. I don't think he says it in the movie though.
He just says something about ending the war.
Ending the war, yeah.
It's the same thing that we hear from somebody else later. And that it's just like they do that. It was implied, like you said, that they all want to make them all hybrids and then they can't be stopped.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah.
So Marius is told by the guy that was spared by Selene. He was told about the message, and Marius is quite upset about the whole situation. Unlike Lucian, Marius is kind of a dick. He treats his own kind like shit, where Lucian was very... like he wanted to protect his kind. Like he was trying to better, like he didn't want to be in a war with the vampires. Where this guy is just like, I want to end the war, but I also want to be the dominant species. You're like, all right, let's see how this goes. Oh, what about that scar? Oh, we're not going to know. Okay.
No, irrelevant.
This is when we see Selene pull the bullet out of Theo's, I'm just going to call him Theo James. I keep forgetting his character's name. He pulls the bullet out, and it's this like drill bit bullet. It's like literally embeds into him, and it's like causing him extreme pain. This dude just gets fucked in these last two movies. This one wasn't as bad as the first one, where he dies and then has to get a fucking hand up his chest and zap him back to life. So Thomas brings forward the proposition of bringing Selene on to help fight Marius. And of course, you have Cassius there in the middle. He's like, I don't trust her. She killed one of her own kind. I don't like it. And he's like, well, I don't think you got much choice, because either she comes on to help or we're all going to be dead. So it's up to you there, pal. And of course, was it Sermina? She's over there like, Samira. She's like, I think it's a good idea. I think we should do it. And he's kind of reluctant, but he kind of agrees. So we then see Selene. She has like a strand of Eve's hair tucked in her jacket there. And you get this whole like thing. This is another problem. We just met Eve in the last movie, and now I have to care about the fact that Eve is not in this movie. Like, she was in the movie for 25 minutes, and now I have to care that Selene doesn't have her daughter she knew for an hour. Like, I don't hate
she even makes a comment, something about Eve hates her, doesn't even consider her mother or something like that.
Why?
Yeah, why?
But why? Because she seemed pretty cozy up to her before.
You're sending me away?
What are we talking about?
Yeah, a lot of plot holes, unfortunately.
Oh, it's Swiss cheese in this movie. So yeah, there's intruders in the little hideout they got down there. And at first, it's Lycans, or no, at first it's vampires, and then it's being led by again the girl I could not figure out her name the whole time, Alexia, and her group show up, and they're like, hey, they want you at the Eastern Coven. They're like, she's like, well, I'm the public enemy #1 type person. Like, they literally, she has a death warrant on her. Like, literally all the vampires sign like a contract, like, kill on sight.
The death curse.
Samira put out there.
Yeah. And they're like, well, they need your help because we're kind of screwed. And then the alarm goes off again, and the Lycans show up this time, but nothing happens. The Lycans show up, nothing happens. It cuts to the next scene. You're like, what? Was there an extended cut? What happened? Was there a fight? No.
Just kidding.
Nothing. Just pulled it out. This is the dude with the dollar and the fishing line.
Yeah.
So Marius, we get more Marius being perturbed about everything that's being told to him. We get this wonderful introduction for Selene as she arrives to the mansion. You have like all the soldiers lined up outside. She walks in, and it's the same introduction we get to her with her in the first movie, where she walks into the original mansion, where it's like everyone lined up inside, and then she meets Samira. I'm gonna fuck these names up the whole time. And then like, we're gonna have a party, and I was like, oh man, are we gonna see Celine in a different outfit? No, she goes to the party in the same. This character wears the same outfit in every Underworld. The only other outfit she wears is nothing when she's naked in the sex scene, and when she is out of the cryo chamber in the fourth one. Other than that, the same outfit the entire time.
I have thoughts on that as well. So.
How stinky
Don't you
it may
wash
be.
that?
I hope she does. That's got to be
really steals in the flavor.
Somebody's gonna buy it. Don't worry, somebody's gonna buy it. But yeah, there's this fancy vampire party. Samira tries to flirt with Theo James, and it doesn't go well. He's just like, "Yeah, get away from me, weirdo." And Samira is Cassius her brother, or is he just a guy on the council? Because I swear to God, she said brother earlier, but I must have misheard. I wasn't sure, but he's always got a scowl on his face.
He was just on the council.
I mean, you're probably right.
She could reference him as brother, as a like
brotherhood type
thing.
Yeah. But she's up there rah-rahing all the vampires that things are gonna change. Don't you worry. And I love the one guy. What's his name? Varga. He's got the same face the whole time. He does not change his facial structure the entire movie.
He doesn't.
Oh man. And the next scene is literally Varga giving Samira a good licky downstairs. You think he uses his teeth?
Lick the button.
We had to cover eyes in that one.
That's some John Carpenter's vampires right there.
Yeah.
Ridley's like, is it bad stuff? We're just like, nope, just not something you should be watching.
You don't see anything. You don't even see, like, there's these when the costume designer was designing her look, because I guess in the original script she was supposed to be naked, and the costume designer's like, no, I feel that this character wouldn't be like that, so they literally made that robe that perfectly covers those spots.
Yep,
it was like on purpose, just for that sheer fact that it doesn't show, like it'll show you things, but not the things you really want to see.
She came close a couple times.
She came close, and I wasn't disappointed. This woman is very attractive.
You just get to figure out what she looks like.
Yeah, you get the idea. It's like when you're a kid and you had to look at a Playboy. You didn't get. Oh no, not a Playboy, like a Victoria's Secret.
I was about to say
magazine.
Sears
catalog. Yeah, Sears catalog.
And I like too in this movie they kind of do like from the first movie where Samira is like Craven, and Varga is like the other girl vampire. I forget her name now from the first movie. So she's like another Timu Craven. In a way.
Yeah.
They
I
don't know. I kind of no. I'm not saying Timu as being bad. It's like just a cheaper version.
Yeah. Because I definitely won't rewatching this. I'm like, that's Craven. She's definitely trying to be a Craven type character.
Not to be honest, I like this character more than I like Craven. I did not.
Oh no,
Craven.
Yeah, fuck
Craven sucks.
Yeah,
he doesn't do shit.
Does nothing.
Like at least she like fights.
Yeah,
and does some crazy shit in this movie. The whole thing where she, I think Varga is like, I've been thinking about this, and she's like, you should stop thinking. You'll get hurt. You're gonna hurt yourself. I was like, yeah. She said, but then she says it to him again. I was like, okay, it was funny the first time, but now it's like, okay.
That's when she pushes his head down. Like, you can be useful other ways.
I like to volunteer as tribute. Man. So, but it's so funny though when Samira and Varga are like talking about what their plan is, because you find out that they literally bring Celine in so that they can, betray her and steal her blood, and it's like such a like generic evildoer. Like they're just like both standing there like as they're twirling their mustaches.
100%.
Like, god damn. Oh, I
What are
love
we
it.
watching?
Yeah. So Celine has to go in there. She's got to train the new recruits to become death dealers. We then are back with Marius and his crew. They're not having a good time coming up with a plan because literally every time they come up with a good idea, they're like, well, that's not going to work. Oh, yeah, they have this at the mansion, which is going to prevent us from getting in. And they're just like, Marius is like, what the hell do I have all you people for? You can't come up with anything. And it's like, well, what's your idea, sir?
Somebody's like, it's just a bunch of them. And Marius is like, what's your suggestion? He's like, why don't we just take the coven and push it somewhere else?
Just move it over a few feet. Kill this man.
So fucking stupid.
Oh my god. So yeah, she's doing the training, and then you got to have the whole thing where Varga's there, and he's like, he's the big dog there. He's killed 40 Lycans, and it's the whole thing was like, how many Lycans have you killed, Celine? She's like, I don't keep count. I'm like, yeah, because you're badass, Celine. You don't need to keep count. As she has like a notebook in her pocket.
She's like 40.
She's got, like,
what?
Yeah, she's got the old timey clicker on her. It's from when it's literally she got it before she was a vampire. She had to keep count of things, and she's like, "Well, this is gonna be handy now."
She probably got it when it was first invented.
It's that old. That spring is a little rusty. I gotta stop putting my notebook down, then I lose my spot. So yeah, they fight. They're like in a cage, and they're like fighting, and it's pretty even until he whips out a knife, fucking slices her hand. You're like, oh, okay, it can't be that bad. And then she just collapses, and you're like, oh, okay. And he's like, Nightshade. You know, for a normal vampire, it'd be excruciating, and then it'd probably end in death. But for you, since you're special, it's just gonna be excruciating. And I was like, oh, so we're just cheating now, you fucking dick. But then you find out why. I love all the recruits are there like, what's happening? And then
what do I do?
What do I do? And Samira comes out of like the darkness. She's like, Victor, I was his number 2, and then you had to come in and ruin it. And I was like, okay, so again, you've been around for a long time. Never heard of you. Never heard of you. Where have you been? I don't know.
Must not have been number 2.
Couldn't sit on his lap, damn it.
Yeah. Again, Varga, same face he's had the entire movie, even when like all this crazy shit's happening. And then like the whole plan is they're going. He picks up Celine's guns, turns around, kills all the recruits, which then we finally get the Blade vampire deaths where when they get shot, they like disintegrate into ash. I was like, God damn! Like, yes, this isn't Blade, but I just like seeing this made me happy. Like seeing the vampires just turning into ash. It was fantastic. We get to see more. Like we've seen the light bullets used more in the last 2 movies than we did in the first 2, which was where they were introduced. But yet they barely used them. They used it once, I think. Annoying.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Did you say that? They are related to Nightshade. They're on the Nightshade. That's what killed Scott Speedman was the potatoes.
The potatoes.
They were Nightshade the whole time.
Oh my God.
All full circle. We just found it out.
Oh, so yeah, so the whole thing is to set up Celine, because the Cassius goes in there later and finds, you know, the pile of ash that was once the recruits, and then finds her guns, and he's like, of course it was her. I didn't trust her from the beginning. And I'm thinking to myself, like, really? Like, what is your, like, yeah, she killed a couple of your own. She killed the elders. But like, were you never told the like true story behind what the elders were doing? Like Victor, for instance? Or were you just in the circle and then you just didn't give a shit? They're just mad because you killed Victor. All right.
They played that game, Telephone.
Yeah.
Where you have to.
By the time it got to them, it was completely different. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention when Thomas and Samira are walking around talking about like the end of their race. There's a portrait of Amelia, the third elder, and Samira's like, "Oh, I hear you had a thing for Amelia," which is like, "Oh, is that going to go anywhere?" Yes, it is, because Amelia is the one elder that does not get talked about much or at all. Like, she literally shows up in the first one, she dies, and then of course you see like a flashback in the second one. She is asleep in the third one, in the prequel. She's her and what's the second? Marcus are asleep. So here we are. Let's bring Amelia back into the fold here. So Thomas and David, they find David. I actually wrote his name. That's Theo. Hey, finally got there, guys. I just thought of Theo. That was his name the whole time. So they find Celine. She's getting bloodletted. Pretty much they're draining her to use her blood for nefarious reasons, or just to become
the Dark
like her.
Ages.
Yeah, right. It's like literally old school. Like literally the tubing is from like the 1890s.
Yeah, right. That's probably where she's from. How old she is. We don't know.
They could have done like Blade and just done it quicker.
That's true. That's true.
It's funny that both Blade and Celine get bloodletted in one of their movies in the franchise.
Had to get there eventually.
Yep. So Celine is getting hunted. Thomas fights Samira and Varga. It's a cool little scene. He gets to like do some cool sword fights with them, and then he ends up dying. And then it's the whole thing where the 60-second timer goes, where it's like the sunrise is in 60 seconds, so the shades start to close slowly, and it's like, don't go outside, you're gonna die. But then he's like, no, I'm gonna risk it all, and he jumps out with Celine. But then you find out because she brought him back to life, he is now immune to the sunlight. So he is able to run through, and she's like, what? And then there's like a reflection that hits her real quick, and it like burns her, and you're like, oh, from the car. Yeah. I thought that was pretty good. And so they escape. And they're in the car, and Celine drinks from David, and I really thought this was going to be a Blade moment. Like, you remember in the first Blade where after he gets let out of the bloodletting, he has to drink from the girl that's with him. And he like drinks and drinks to the point where she's dying herself. I thought that was what was happening here. Like, she was just going to keep going, and David's like, I'm weak. That's
enough blood to get a boner. This is really weird.
I don't know if I'm dying or if I'm aroused. I don't know.
I was really concerned because she's like, it's like that scene from Blade. I was like, the Blade almost gets fucked by his mom. I was like, what happened? Did I miss something?
No, not that.
Celine's got more self-control than Blade does.
Yeah, she's probably she knows what's going on.
Sometimes.
Have you watched Game of Thrones? There's a lot of incest in there. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Gross.
Very.
So she gets the flashbacks. It's just shit we've already seen. It's like all of her memories is coming back. Was there anything new in here? I can't even remember.
I think it was mostly just stuff from the last movie, I believe.
Yeah, you're like, right. Okay.
Why?
Yeah,
because he still has her blood. I was like, why is she seeing this from his blood? Like, he wasn't there.
Oh, that's right.
And then I was like, yeah.
Oh, right. It's when they bite somebody else, they actually see their memories.
Yeah, because I was like, why is he seeing this? Hold on.
Yeah. But I was like, right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, her blood is in him, so weird. I don't wild stuff.
I think it'd cycle out after a while.
So yes, Samira sends out the group of vampires led by Alexia to hunt down Celine, and Samira like is looking at blood that they collected from Celine, and she's like, how much nightshade did you use on her? I need untainted blood to use this. He's like, it'll go away. Relax. You don't need to drink it right now. It's with the same facial expression that we have seen from this man the whole time.
But I want to drink it now. When are they going to get to the fireworks factory? Shut up.
So Samira sends sends Alexia to where Marius is. I was like, that's weird. Why would she just send her by herself? And then you find out that Alexia and Marius are in a Lucian Sonia relationship, and I was like, wow, they couldn't have made this guy Lucian. We made him Lucian. Like, as soon as he like picks her up and they like start making out, I was like, wow, just keep on recycling, baby. something good will come out of it, right?
Has
She's
to.
not as tough as Sonya though, because she tells him to be gentle.
Right.
Oh, be gentle.
Be gentle.
So they need the hybrid blood. And I think this is where he mentions the fact it was like, it's going to make us completely immortal. And I think that's where I got confused. I'm like, you're already immortal. But then I was like, no, it'll make it so they're immune to silver. He doesn't like you were saying, Daniel, he doesn't say specifically it's going to make us immune to silver, but he's like, it'll make us fully immortal.
Yeah, I think he said it'll save both races or something like that.
Yeah, even though he doesn't give a fuck about the vampires. So choo-choo through the snow-covered mountains.
Snowpiercer.
Yep, literally. They would just like thumbs up, like, well, thanks for stopping, everybody. I don't know how you're surviving out here. It's like, well, we're vampires. So we're immune to the cold. So they
live forever.
This train just randomly stops in the middle of like the Arctic Circle. Like, what? And they walk out, and then they do the funniest wall climb you'll ever see. My wife laughed out loud when she saw them like jumping like 20-25 feet per section to get up the side of this mountain. It's like, wow.
We're playing Assassin's Creed or
any game where you have to climb a wall.
Yes.
Uncharted.
Those were some strong daggers that they were using.
Made of silver.
Yeah.
So then we can kill the lichen.
And a mountain, apparently.
And the mountain.
Softens them up.
So there's an awesome castle at the top of this mountain. And then we meet the new this coven that we have not heard of before because they kind of are away from everything. They're part of the Nordic coven, or the I think that's what they were called. Because we had the northern, or no, we had the Eastern coven. So I think this is technically the Northern coven. I think.
Yeah, they're a bunch of hippies.
They do say Nordic, I believe, at one point though. Yeah.
Vador. Yeah, that was the name that I forgot to write down. So they live up here, and they're just like, we don't deal with the lichen war. We're just minding our own damn business. And I'm thinking to myself, vampires need blood to survive, right? So if they're not participating in these things, where do they get the blood they need to survive? Or are their bodies?
Rabbits.
Where are there's no fucking way there's rabbits living out there. That shit is literally the top of the world. Santa Claus lives next door.
Santa Claus. There you go.
Yeah,
reindeers.
That's all they need. Santa Claus.
Another reindeer has been stolen.
The elves.
Oh no!
Santa Claus.
The disappearance of the what's going on? Oh, just another elf has been taken. Where are they coming from?
Santa has like a eugenics lab, and he tries to breed like the perfect reindeer. That's why it's always the same reindeer. He clones them and shit like that. So it's like all the bad ones that got like 14 hooves, or like, an antler coming out the eye,
Santa Claus
out the back.
But then you have Rudolph that has the red nose. Is he just a reject? He's just like, oh, you're cute.
He was a convenient mutation. That's all he was.
Oh no. Oh, or do you think Santa has a deal with these vampires that he actually gives, because he has a eugenics lab? He just gives them the food supply.
Yeah, or like, I'm going to give you these. You don't tell anybody about it, all right?
Yeah.
Deal.
I'm guessing it's either that, which is a high possibility, or because of how they've lived for so long that their bodies are like designed differently, where they don't need to consume, like either they don't have to consume as much, or I don't know. It's weird because it's weird to think of that, because I think most people who are watching this movie aren't thinking like, how do they eat? I thought that as soon as we got here. Where's their food?
Well, they apparently take blood from each other, which I didn't think that's what vampires did, but to heal. But could they just be like,
see, when they were wrapping those people like the cocoons from Killer Clowns, they were just actually just
put straws
hanging up from the ceiling.
Oh man. So where am I? We meet this new coven. We meet the this blonde haired lady who can like teleport. Her name is Vidar. Oh no, that's the dad. This is Lena. She's the daughter of Vidar, who is like the leader of this coven. And she's like the best warrior they have.
And this is all Game of Thrones related. Just like,
oh yeah. They just took the costumes.
Yeah.
They're like, yep, this is it. They're filming her right next door.
Blonde, really blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in our story, she's going to be the one who gets to ride the dragons.
Yeah.
Do you have dragons, vampire lady? No.
Dude, listen, if they pulled dragons out of their ass to beat the Lycans and the vampires at the end, I'd be like, all right, sure, why not?
Oh, God. So, yeah, we get this whole backstory for David. We find out that he is the long-lost son of Amelia. And I went, of course he is! We gotta have it, baby.
One.
Gotta have it. Yeah, and because he is the long-lost son of Amelia, he gets a cool sword that's fully made out of silver. And but David, he has mommy issues. He's like, why am I just finding about this now? And just like storms off into like the coldest winter ever. But because he's a vampire, it doesn't matter. So it's not as effective.
Yes.
And he's given a ring though that has Amelia's blood in it. Because at first he kind of doesn't believe it. He's like, why wouldn't anyone tell me that? And it's like, well, it's kind of some big ass news. And also, I don't think any of the other two elders didn't have kids. So I think there must have been some like the elders can't have children. No, Victor had a daughter. So that doesn't make sense. So why the hell was he kept I don't know. This is confusing. Again, it wasn't explained, or if it was, I missed it.
I think it said something about Samara would have challenged it if she'd found out that there was a child, I believe.
What is that challenge?
Challenge like leading the coven, I guess. I don't know.
So it says fight to the death?
I guess so.
I'm guessing that's what, I mean, what? Again, a character who was introduced in the very first movie having to fight a character we're just finding out about now. Kind of wild.
Yeah.
All right. Then Celine walks into this room where people are getting like mummified or something, or they're like being wrapped to go to a like world between worlds type thing. But like we were just mentioning, there's like a few of them hung up like cocoons. Like, oh, interesting.
Maybe she's Mama Butterfly. I don't know.
And yeah, you get we see more of them like doing this weird teleport move, which is like, oh, we can teach you how to do that. You got to believe.
I wish this actually had more payoff.
I mean, it kind of does based on what we see at the end, but
it's like,
yeah, but
two grand uses of it, and you're like, done. It's like the Spirit Bomb. All right, listen, Dragon Ball. It's like the Spirit Bomb. It doesn't beat anybody until Boo beats no one.
It's because they have to hold their arms up in the air for 10 episodes to get it.
He charges the Genki Dama for fucking ever. It's the biggest energy sack in the world ever.
That's
and like
why.
Frieza's like, I got this
it's
shit.
so freaking slow.
Yeah, you got to
That's
absorb all the energy from all the living beings on the planet.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is it's a cool ability, but it doesn't solve the problems. Except for Boo. And this isn't Boo.
No, it's not.
Because Boo's pink.
Well, Boo is pink. And there's no bibbity bobbity.
There's no horse-drawn onion.
No, and also funny because you don't know this, Daniel. Dabura from Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
his dad's name. What is it?
It's been a minute since I've watched. I can't remember what the name is.
No, they just talked about in Daima. Like Daima builds up like. It's really dumb. Let me look it up. I had it and I lost it. It was like one of those mid-conversation, like fleeting thoughts. Oh, gotta go.
Wait, come back.
Where you bring it up and you immediately lose it. I hate that.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I lost it. I'm gonna look it up. I was like, wait. Nope, it's gone. And there it goes.
So yeah, the Lycans attack. Celine and Marius fight. We get it's a pretty interesting fight. Of course, it's like them trying to get all of the Nordic vampires kind of hidden away, like the women and children. Like there are warriors, even though they don't see a lot of conflict, there's still like the warriors led by Lena and all that. But this is when David gets the sword and he like hides in like one of the little pools that are there. And there's like a lichen. He's like fighting one of the lichens and he like bursts out of the water and just splits this lichen in half. I was like, damn, that's cool.
Coolest kill in the movie.
So cool.
It's so dope.
And and then Celine and Marius, they fight, and then she throws him off the side of a cliff, and she does her cool little landing, and he like transforms midair and like lands as a lichen. But then when he gets up and she looks at him, he still has his his human face, and she's like, "What are you?" And he doesn't really answer, but you're like, something's fishy about this guy.
He does say that. He does say Batman.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Why don't you tell your friends about me?
Whoa. What was that?
Speaking of
Mothra is in here. Don't mind.
Yeah.
The hell?
It's a suspicious. Look, I'm trying to genetically engineer massive bumblebees. I've been talking about this for years.
Oh my god.
Have we talked about this on the show?
Probably not.
Okay, cool. We're going to talk about it for a second. I want to engineer bumblebees or bees that are the size of footballs. So when they fly around, they're like small blimps. Dude, it'd be fucking sweet.
We had this conversation with our kids and they were super excited about it.
Dude, it's dope. Anyway, go ahead.
You have fun conversations with your
Dude,
kids.
it's like The Simpsons where Homer goes into space. I just watched this. And the bee, or then the ant goes by the camera before the camera cuts. And Kent Brockman's like, I for one accept our new insect overlords. Wow. Hey, go ahead, sorry.
So they fight. They fight. It's a pretty even fight. Like, she's holding her own. He's throwing her around though, because he's massive. Like he's like an uber lichen, but he's also a hybrid because he has the humanoid face. But then she gets stabbed by Alexia, and then she just gets riddled with bullets. Marius just unloads into her, and she kind of like slides into the water, and he's mad because he
calls out Michael. She's like, Michael, save
me.
Whatever she says. And I'm like,
save Eve.
Done.
Yeah.
Well,
he's done.
I think it's
gone.
more because she's like grasping death. Like, this woman's been alive for like 1,000 years, and she is finally facing death. But it was the whole thing where Marius asked, like, where is she? Talking about Eve. And she's like, I don't know. She didn't tell me. And Alexia has to, I think she licks the sword, the blood on the sword to get the vision.
Very weirdly.
Oh, that tongue is long.
Gene Simmons' tongue comes out.
Yeah, and she licks that sword, and she's like, she's telling the truth. And that's when he unloads the bullets into her, and then Celine slides into the water.
It's not her first time being.
Oh no, she says she doesn't say Michael save me. She says Michael find Eve.
Yeah, because at this moment she doesn't know what's happened to Michael.
Yeah.
And her last ounce of energy is she slides. And no, go ahead, do this.
No, she did. Yeah, she slides in. She slides into the water, and then you get like, it's a really interesting shot of like her under the water, and her eyes are just beaming blue.
Yep.
Because I think
she slid under the. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, David is at the top of the mountain as he sees her somehow. She's like, this fucking big. He's like,
he can see for everything.
He's got special eyes.
Yeah.
He can see
the bluest eyes.
Yeah.
Aquaman's
not like a doll's eyes.
I don't know.
Aquaman's eyes. Yes. There you go. I like it.
So Samira, we're back with Samira. Well, actually, before that, Celine gets part of that like mummification process, or she's being wrapped up to be put into that in between worlds thing, because they're just like, she's dead. Yeah, she's dead, or at least that's what David thinks. We're then back with Samira, and she has a big old cup of blood, of Celine's blood, and I hate when people drink from these things in these movies, and they're just the biggest fucking slobs. Like, this is valuable blood, and you are just pouring it all down the front of you, and then she just drops it. I was like, what?
Not save it.
But Vargas behind her staring is like, you're not going to get any of that.
Yep. I think the reason she does it, of course, is because she wants the power for herself.
But I think he's like standing back there naked, like he's behind a chair.
He's like, I'll
definitely tell that something happened.
The residue off your body. Oh man. So David leaves the Nordic coven because he's like, I gotta go do what I gotta do. And Alexia returns to Samira to tell her like everything that happened. And Samira's like, I know what you've been doing, and slits her throat. And you're like, all right, well, this is ending in a similar way to Lucian and Sonia, except this goes nowhere because Marius never finds out that she's dead.
Never gets
Thanks
brought
for introducing that plot line to go nowhere. Thank you.
I don't think he would care it anyway if he found out.
Probably not.
I don't think so. I think he was just using Alexia. I don't think he actually really cared about her.
Probably.
I agree, but I would have loved to see like him find out, and then you see the fact that he doesn't give a shit.
Oh yeah,
but instead she dies. And you're like, oh shit, Marius is going to be really pissed, or he's just not going to give a shit. But we don't get any of that. It's like she's dead. That's it. And now we just pretend like they were never a thing.
He ain't got time to mourn.
Yeah, sure. Or we just don't have enough money to shoot another
scene. Yeah. That's true.
Probably that. We have 4 weeks. We ain't got time.
So Samira doesn't get her way when David returns because he is like, hey, I'm the son of Amelia, so I am technically the head of this coven. And she's like, I don't think so. It's not how it works. And then he's like, oh, well, I have gifts for everybody. So he hands like all the rest of the council members a little vial of the blood, which is like the proof. You don't see their visions, but they see the proof, and they're like, oh, he's telling the truth. And she's like, this is horse shit. And she like storms
pretty
off.
Much.
And so a fight breaks out at the fortress, and this is where like all the vampire, like David is now the head of the coven, so he is there. Varga like turns on Samira too. He's like, nah, it all seems right to me. I'm gonna be with this guy. And so
my job is to protect the head of the coven, which is David now.
Yeah. So he's like, they're like side by side fighting, and even though I would have been a little weird because he's like, him and Samira are the one that killed his dad. It's like, all right. But also he was there to protect the head of the coven. She wasn't technically the head of the coven. So I'm confused on his role, but all right. He's there with David now. And, you know, Samira kind of fucks off. She runs away. And they have to embrace for battle as the Lycans show up. But this is where you see that Marius is not Lucian, because like as everything is happening and they're being shot at, he literally takes one of his own guys and uses him as a shield. I'm like, oh yeah, Lucian wouldn't have done that. Lucian was cool. You're not.
Remember when villains had standards?
Yeah.
Come on.
So we get this whole fight. You got the light bullets that the Lycans are using on the vampires, but also they're damaging, the bullets are like damaging the shades that are blocking the sun. So you actually see like part of the sunlight coming in and hitting some of the vampires, and you see their cool, like, you know, burn up and, you know, them being turned to ash. And also I'm just realizing that everybody in this fight are terrible shots. No one is hitting anyone.
Yep.
It's insane. There's literally David shooting at Marius, and they're getting like within 2 feet of each other, and I don't think a single bullet hit either of them.
Oh no, they got
at each other. Did they?
They got hit. Yeah, because I remember they end up roaring at each other, and the bullets they expel themselves from their bodies.
We had to get that scene.
It's like 2.
And when they're using that big cannon and like they're shooting the windows out, I thought like the bullets were creating sunlight, but I guess they were just breaking the glass out or the shades out, I guess.
Yeah, they were.
Well, the shutters, the metal shutters.
Yeah, like they were making a big deal out of this gun they're using, but it's like it's just a big gun. That's all it is.
Oh no, this is the way that it looks.
They're like, oh shit. Like, you think they're not going to bring in something that's going to
It's like, it's sunny outside and we're not affected by the sunlight. They are. So let's do something that's going to not be good for them. Also, it's going to make it so they can't go into certain parts of the castle.
Yep.
To be honest, though, when they're showing it from afar, it looks like nothing is hitting these guys. It just looks like a bunch of terrible shots. But we had to get the scene of them pushing out the bullets. I'm like, oh look, Lucian did that, and so did Celine. So I guess we got to do that again.
And I love the look on Marius's faces when he sees that the sunlight's hitting David and nothing's affecting him. He's like, the fuck? He's like,
I need that blood.
Yeah, I need that blood.
So Celine returns in dramatic fashion. She comes in. She's like, you don't see her because she's got the teleportation power. She's just, whoo, whoo, whoo. and she kills a couple of the Lycans, and she's got the blonde highlights now. She's got the new coats. She looking cool. I mean, Celine's looked cool the entire time, but she looks extra cool in this. So Marion versus Celine, or Marius versus Celine. It's a pretty even fight again, but Celine's got the extra powers now. So
Hold on.
Okay.
I disagree with that statement because the first time that she fought Marius, she got her ass kicked.
Well, yeah, he was this massive. Well, he was also transforming that massive Lycan and was just throwing her.
Well, but she's fought massive Lycans before.
Yeah, but he was juiced too, though. Remember?
I mean,
I know we elaborate on that, but what I'm saying is like the whole thing when she got Corvinus's blood in the second one, the way that it came off is it was supposed to. To me, seemed like she was more on even footing with Michael, like because he's the whole hybrid thing, and she is super vampire. I don't fucking know, but whatever. Uber vampire, sure. But like in that fight, she just gets dumpstered most of it, and then like all of a sudden she's like, I'm more of a level playing field.
I don't know.
She's got the highlights.
It kind of felt like they undersold
the frosted tips. She got frozen.
And
now she's better.
Well, when she defeats Marcus, it's with the guns, and then she pushes him into the helicopter blade. So it's not even like hand-to-hand combat. And then when
Marcus
was the second guy.
But he was kind of a hybrid too, because he had the werewolf blood. And he was also from the Corvinus line.
Yeah. And then when she beats the dude in the fourth one, she has to put the grenade in his chest because she knew she couldn't beat him.
Yep. I don't know. I just feel like she got her ass kicked more in this than she did in any other movie. I know you got to raise the stakes, but it's just kind of seemed weird. But anyway, go ahead. I know why, but
he fight. Weird. Yeah, when they fight though, for the majority of this, he's not a Lycan. It's not until they fight in that cage that he fully turns. Which is always confusing to me. Like, if you have the ability to transform into this monster, why wouldn't you? Like, do you still have the same strength when you're not fully a Lycan? I don't think so. I think what would be the point? If you had the strength of your Lycan self, why would you ever want to transform?
Right.
So,
but does he lose some of that ability when he transforms so much because he has to keep injecting himself with the blood?
Maybe.
And he downed the last of the blood.
Yeah, I mean that could be the case. I mean, yeah, like we're about to find out like why he is the way he is. But we get I like that we get kind of the combo fight. As you got Celine versus Marius, and then you have David versus Samira. Again, it's fairly even for the majority, and then Samira is defeated because she gets too cocky and she goes into the room and she opens the shade up and to the reveal that the blood worked, but David's got that silver sword and she's just like, you can't kill me, until he shoves it into her mouth, and you're like, or it was through her head, came out of her mouth.
Which I think it's also because she's not seen the sun in so long, like properly seeing the sun, and so
maybe finish your fight, maybe to try to beat this guy.
Be enamored later.
Yeah.
Here comes the sun.
do.
Well, at least she saw the sun in her dying breath.
For the last time. That's it. She went out with
a guck.
From behind.
This is the weirdest guck ever.
But to be honest, the kill on Samira looked terrible, by the way. That CG fucking mouth kill. I was like, oh no, that was weird, man.
They definitely could have done better.
They could have done some practical on that. I think it would look pretty cool. But,
rub a little practical on it. They'll take care of it.
I see what they did. So when Marius and Celine are fighting, she like slices him and she gets a little bit of blood on her lip, which shows that this shows her that Marius
something to do with Michael.
I think it was that Marius was he was draining Michael and drinking his blood. Because
that wasn't until the second time.
That was
Wait, there was a second time?
Yeah, she licks the knife.
Oh, she licks the knife, right? That was the one that shows that she thought that that Michael was still alive. Was the one where she got the blood on the lip, and then she she's like, you know where he is, type thing, and then she like runs away and she goes into the cage, and she has the knife and she licks the knife to get more of the memory, which is that he was like gutting it. He literally had him like upside down, draining into a bucket and was like drinking his blood, which was why he was more of a hybrid.
Yes.
Yeah, because he took him away from the lab that he was in at the end of the fourth one, and why he was there, I don't fucking know. Marius just found him hanging in the lab, and he took him because.
So that's the vision that she was.
Speedman.
So that was the vision she got at the end of the fourth one, was actually Marius stealing Michael's body,
which was so
it must
weird.
have been because it was him leaving.
How was he there?
It was him leaving, but it was apparently they changed it to where it was Marius taking him away, or not Speedman in this movie.
Yeah. Like
it shows like 3 other Lycans in there with him, and it shows Marius kill them and then take Michael.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is all so sloppy.
I think he like knocked Michael out, like tranquilized him or something, so he could cut his throat. I believe it shows.
Because he was already weak. You could see it.
Yeah.
Like when he took him out of the chamber.
Michael's like, no, wait, I'm one of you.
Yeah, it was one of those weird visions that it felt like they were trying to finish out what they started, and just rushed it really fast.
Isn't it amazing this dude gets killed off twice in the same series, both movies sequentially off camera, and it's not even him?
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
Yeah, this one looked worse than the fourth movie did.
Uncredited.
Terrible.
I don't know. There's just so much sloppy storytelling in this one. Like, it's just again, I'm supposed to care about this Marius dude, and like he's the new big bad, and it's like, but it's a continuation of these other 4 films that, like, what are we doing? Like, when she finds out that Marius killed Michael, and you get this like whole dramatic thing where he's like in the back and he realizes that she knows the truth, and he's like, oh, you know, and she's all sad, and he's got like that vial of it. It's like, this is the last of him, and you think he's gonna give it to her, but instead he drinks more of it, and it's like, so what now? Like, don't you have to keep drinking his blood to keep that power, and now you're out of it? Like, what? Okay.
But he also took it like a shot this time. It wasn't just a
which that's not how blood
syringe.
Works. But okay.
No.
It is in this universe.
If you want it to be effective, you inject yourself with it. It's the same thing with why David is the way he is. I mean, she didn't inject blood into him, but she, used her power to.
I mean, it was
juice
right
him
at
up.
his heart. So.
Right, exactly. Where this guy's just like fucking taking shots of blood, which is like, okay, so that's why you have to keep taking it, because you're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
dumbass. And they fight for about 3 seconds, and she rips his spine out. And
Mortal Kombat, baby.
Yep, and he did.
He got a big old spine.
She uses that grief power to just absolutely destroy him. And and then it pretty much cuts to a quick thing of, you find out that David and Celine become the new elders. I think Lena also becomes an elder. I don't know. It was very They didn't fully explain it well, but it was like, I went from having a death warrant on me to now becoming one of the elders. And I was like, well, David definitely became an elder, right? Because his mom was an elder. And I'm guessing Lena does, even though she wasn't even the leader of that coven.
No, but she says one of 3. So I'm assuming that everybody that was standing up there, maybe it's like second in command or something. I don't know.
Well, I know that it literally states that Celine and David are elders now.
Yeah.
Like, they are like 2 of the they are the new Victor and Amelia.
And they needed one more. So it had to be that lady, because they had to be one from the other coven.
Yeah, I think I read online it was Lena. Yeah,
and then our final shot is of Celine kind of meditating at the bottom of that mountain, and then who would come out of the shadows or the blizzard? But Eve, a very poorly rendered Eve, because it's definitely not the same actress. And
we were trying to figure out who it was. I was like, what?
And that is it. That is 2017 or 2016, whatever year you want to think of it. Underworld Blood Wars.
Up in the sky, look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's
Geeks with Beards.
Do you like action? How about a little comedy? Join the Geeks with Beards podcast. When I ask the question, why do people like Magneto?
What the beep?
We cover all the eras. Golden, silver, bronze, and modern.
Then you need to check out the Geeks with Beards podcast. Available on all streaming sites right now. Geeks with Beards.
Now it's time.
And we forgot to mention, too. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we got to mention real quick before she kills Mary, she has to bite herself so she can get like those final loving memories of Michael to give her that little extra encouragement to rip his spine out. I guess.
Sense. Like, why are you biting yourself?
You
Can you not
you
just normally
needed to do
remember?
that. I feel like you've already. There's so much grief in you that I don't think you need that anymore. Like, you could bite yourself whenever. You still have his blood. Like, what are we talking about?
You can just use your brain and remember.
Or just,
I mean,
or
just
his body is still fresh. Just fucking drain some of Marius's blood, and then you could do the same thing. Just start taking shots when you need a flashback of Michael. Like, what are we talking about? Stupid.
Which I think that's why they were doing the bloodletting slowly.
Yeah.
Because she can continually reproduce blood.
Right.
So it's probably something that she didn't want to do fast so she could keep getting blood.
Sounds good to me, Angela. Sounds good to me.
You got to make it make sense sometimes.
Yes, because there was a lot of things in this movie that didn't make a whole lot of sense. All right, now it's time to go around the room and share our final thoughts on Underworld Blood Wars. And of course, we'll start with our guest, Daniel. What are your thoughts after this latest viewing?
There are some big problems with it that I forgot about. The CG with Marius, I didn't like the way that he did the whole humanoid lichen face. I think it should have been, if they were going to do that, then try to do it more like what they did with Michael. I just didn't like the CG. It looked ugly to me. I just didn't like it. And some of the plot holes, and I think they did rush a lot. I guess maybe, even though I think it said on one of the commentaries that they left it open-ended, I think they kind of knew this was probably going to be the last movie. So I think they were trying to wrap up loose ends, maybe. I still enjoy it. I'll say my ranking here in a little while, but I like it. It's not my favorite of the franchise, but I still like it though.
All right. I think speaking of your point of like not liking the way that Marius looks, I think the reason they did it was because Marius originally was a lichen, or Michael wasn't. Michael was a human who had the blood. Who had the blood. He just had the Corvinus blood, and then when he becomes a hybrid, that's why he looks like that. Where I think they wanted to be like, well, Marius was already a lichen, so that's what he would look like as a hybrid. So maybe that's the explanation. Who knows? I agree. He didn't look great.
No.
Angela.
So when this was over, we were trying to come up with titles for this movie, and I called it Blunderworld. Lack of Scott Speedman. But I can't say that it was terrible. Yeah, there are parts where I was like, yeah, we could have done without all the flashbacks and why we needed memories. This isn't Cats.
This isn't Cats.
They're not singing about memories. Just
or butthole cut.
There was things I liked. There was things I didn't. I think there was more things I didn't like, just with all the CGI and stuff. It's like, just especially with Samira's death, they really could have done that practical. I've seen movies from way further back that they did it way better.
Because they don't want to try. They just want to CG it. It's easier.
It's cheaper. Unquote. It's cheaper. I mean, in 2017 or 2016, it was cheaper to do CG. Where like we've mentioned it 100 times on this show that back in the day, practical was the cheaper route because CG wasn't a thing. And then when CG first came out, it was super expensive because it was new. But now that CG is like the way that visual effects are done now, it's a cheaper medium compared to practical. So I get.
Yeah.
I mean, as we stated, $35 million budget. You only have so much you can do. But I agree 100%. That would have been such a better kill.
Well, I don't, and I know we've talked about this before, and I just don't know I agree with that these days anymore. Like, people say that, but like, how much are you paying these CG artists to do this work?
And also, I'm also watching a lot of indie horror movies that are like have next to no budget that are doing fantastic practical effects.
I don't think it is. I think it's just an industry standard. Everybody just use CG. We got a group of people that'll do it. Yeah. It's easier, but it's not cheaper. That's how I feel.
I almost feel like it takes longer because with CG you have to do frame by frame. It's not just you can record it once and it be perfect and okay, we're done.
Yeah.
It's like with those Winnie the Pooh movies. I think a majority of those kills and stuff are, practical. and they look great compared to what I think the CG would look like. And they had shoestring budget on their movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched it, but wouldn't watch it again.
Damn.
My name, I'm going to slightly alter my name because I had two, but it's Underworld 5, Dude, Where's My Coffin? But I want to change it to Dude, Where's My Coven? Final answer. But listen, I'm glad I watched this to just finish them all because I don't think there's gonna be another. If they did another one, great, whatever. They need to kill Celine's character off and just be done with it. Like just.
But
stop,
Celine's the
please.
reason these movies are good.
But she can't do them forever.
Oh, I know. I fully understand.
She died once.
Well, she could die in space. Fuck it, let her go up there. Let them fight aliens. Fuck it, just do it. Or a race of mummy people that live on the moon or some shit. But I mean, there's pyramids, there's faces on. Or go to Mars, whatever. Anyway, whatever. Not neither here nor there. But it is whatever. This was the one going in. Like when I watched it, this is the one that really felt the most like a shitty sequel, quote unquote. Not saying it's like the worst I've ever watched, but like a shitty sequel to a really good movie, if that makes sense. This is the one that felt the most like that because I felt like 1, 2, and 3 were all kind of like, fairly consistent quality wise and story wise. And then 4, I was kind of waiting to watch this to really get a vote on it. Well, I'm not going to we'll do our list at the end. But I think they should have stuck with the angle of the humans being the villains. They should have never changed it. This is just rehashing, right? This is rehashing the same idea for the 18 millionth time. Like, I get it. There's only vampires. There's werewolves, whatever. I liked the human angle until they found out it was werewolves. But it's just... I don't know. It added a slightly different dynamic, and I kind of wish they just ran with it. But it's whatever. You said the most important points about it. I think there was a few shots of practical werewolf suits.
Yes, a
couple times.
They still had some practical lichens. Close quarter combat was practical.
Yes, but I would say not a horrible movie by any stretch, but not anything particularly great, I would say. But
yeah, for me, this is I'm kind of with Angela. It's a one and done for me. Like, I'm glad that I watched it, and of course, covering it. But it's one that I don't think I would go back to. Like, if I were to watch this, go through this franchise, I think it's like the first 3 is a solid trilogy, and the 4th and 5th are kind of unnecessary. But it's like it's good to see Celine back doing cool things. But I think once you find out, like, oh yeah, we have to write off Michael, and then the 5th one's like, oh yeah, we have to write off that new character we put in the 4th one to kind of make it interesting again. I'm like, okay, like, maybe we should have stopped. Maybe we should have been like, maybe we should rethink this, or wait till Scott Speedman wants to come back, or just recast Scott Speedman, like, and just continue the story of Michael. Like, I don't give a shit if it's Scott Speedman. I just think it's a funny joke. Just be like, where's Scott Speedman? He wasn't good in the first 2. He was just there. But
just cast Jason Statham.
Yes, just give him a cool wig and he's good. He's got to try really hard to do an American accent. I've never heard Jason Statham use an American accent, so it would be hilarious.
He can do it.
He could do it. He can do anything.
What happened to your voice? It was the lab work. I can't do Statham accent. It was the lab work. It fucked him up.
What's the job? What's the job?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a beekeeper.
And he's gonna go to they're gonna go to the moon and fight megalodons on the moon.
Oh my god. I'm a beekeeper who fights megalodons. I'll fight the Meg. I don't know why his voice is so deep, but that's my Jason Statham for you.
Mainly, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's a one and done, and it's just a mess. It really is. It's like the 4th one was a mess, but at least it had those moments of like, okay, it still feels connected to the first 2. Like the 3rd one is a prequel, so it's like it really doesn't matter, with the continuity other than, what we see in the first one. But this one is just like, oof, maybe we should have stopped at 4. We should have just cut our losses. We can't get a couple of these actors back. It's just, and we're literally just going to make the first one again, but worse, which is ultimately what this movie is. As Daniel was stating, like in the beginning of the episode, this is kind of just like a soft reboot. It's like, let's just do the first one again. But we have the same actor.
I think that was a purposeful thing. I believe they were trying to make it more like the first movie.
Which is like, it's fine, but gotta have a better script. And that was the biggest issue with this is and as much as it's like Len Wiseman wasn't involved in this other than he was a producer. And I think that was a big thing. It's like, I think Len Wiseman's writing kept this series alive because he was so passionate about the franchise. And then the fact that they had to bring new writers in to continue the story, it just fell apart for me. But I watched it. So there it is. There you go.
Yep.
Those are my final thoughts. Now it's time to go over to social media and see what you all had to say about Blood Wars, and not a lot of people, because I don't think a lot of people have seen this movie. We only have one on Twitter, and that is before I do that, I have been asking if anyone's seen the movie, but I've also been asking like side questions that are related to the movie. So the bonus question was, what is your favorite conclusion to a franchise? Again, we didn't get a lot of responses, but we got a few. The one on Twitter is from @AnthonyHudak4, who says, even though the franchises are still going, I'd say Gamera 3 and John Wick 4 are great final chapters in their story.
But there was a fourth.
Well, I guess he does not recognize Gamera 4.
Well, okay. So Gamera 4 was a God damn, I did a video on this so long ago. It was an independent production that they ended up, I kept something that had ended up happening where they did some screenings of it. Dai did, and it was kind of like unofficially / officially adopted. And like it's never been shown outside of the United States. I've loved to see this movie. Like, it is a phantom enigma film. Like, it just does not exist, but it's real. It's a real thing. But yeah, yes, he's right. Gamera 3 is probably one of the greatest. It's the best Gamera movie ever made. Like, it ends fantastically.
Yeah, I still gotta dive into more Gamera, but I'm kind of waiting for Monster Zone. So
I'm surprised you didn't say Lord of the Rings.
What?
Just kidding.
I like Lord of the Rings. I don't like it that.
Well, I didn't say end of a trilogy. I said end of a franchise.
They're probably not going to do anything else with them.
I don't know. They just did that animated. They just did that animated movie.
That's true. They did.
Still part of the franchise.
They're trying really, really hard.
And they got the show, which I could care less about. I digress. Over on Instagram, we got a couple responses. Our first one is from Bucket of Chum Podcast, our good friend Captain Steve, who says, this is the last one I need to see, and I hope it's better than Awakening. Oh, boy. The best end to a franchise, though, is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, because that's the last one in the series. There's no other movies after that. You know what, Steve? Yep. I agree.
Yep. There's only 3.
And Last Crusade is my favorite Indiana Jones. So,
yeah, mine too.
I love it. Shut up, Dan.
It's actually the first one I ever saw as a kid was Last Crusade.
I mean, I watched them all in order because my grandma had them all. But yeah, that was I just remember. I mean, I love that trilogy, but the third one just was special. I liked that, the father-son dynamic between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery. But I digress. We're going to talk about those at some point. Well, the one of the original movies is going to be 45 next year, so that's where we're talking about it, Dan. Just for you, buddy. Just for you. We'll see. Yeah, like you have a choice.
It's gonna. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's 2 against 1. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. The other response on Instagram is from Aliens on Fire, who says, I'm not sure if this counts because they talked about doing one more, then I heard it was canceled, but I'm going to say Saw. So I'm guessing Saw X, because that was the last one in the franchise. Yeah, I've heard Saw 11 was supposed to be a thing, got canceled, which is unfortunate, but I mean, Tobin Bell, I think, is in his 80s right now. I've heard good things about Saw X, but I stopped after, I don't even think I saw Final Chapter, which was like the... Oh, actually, I didn't. No, I saw all the way up to Final Chapter, and then I didn't see. There was like Jigsaw. There was Spiral. I didn't see those. I'll see them at some point.
I stopped at 6.
I stopped after the first one because I knew I wouldn't make it because I would end up having a panic attack and passing out and be dead.
Yeah, when me and my wife started dating, we literally rented all of them. Like that was like our franchise we watched together. I don't know why, but we were just like, we need to see the next Saw movie. And that was that was back when they were still making them. But yeah, that is it for comments on Underworld's Blood Wars. Thank you to everyone who leaves us responses on those. It was cool. I've been trying to do something new with the extra bonus question to kind of make the the questions more unique, especially since there's some movies, like when we get to movies like this, I know there's not a huge audience. Our audience for this movie is on the show today. So
Yep.
I'm not gonna read his comments. He's here to share his comments. So but now, since it is the last movie and since this is the end of a franchise, we have to do our final rankings for the franchise. And so I know we talked about this before, Daniel, but you have your own rankings, which I will let you share if you would like. Would you like to share them now? Or would you like to share them after we do the final Dissect That Film rankings?
I'll do them after you guys do yours.
Okay. Well, you will be able to participate in how we rank ours
Don't
as
be
well.
disappointed.
Oh, no, I'm not disappointed.
The first thing we do is villain, because we're only doing 2 for this franchise. So right now, at number 4 is Dr. Lane and Quint from Awakening. At number 3 is Victor from Rise of the Lycans. At number 2 is Victor from the first Underworld. And then number 1 is Marcus from Evolution. So where are we putting, I'm guessing, we just say Marius, right? Or do we put Marius and Serena or Sermina?
I feel like Samara's a little bit more villain than Marius.
I think we should put them together, though, because I think
Marius just put them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Where do we think that these two go on to the list?
All right, here's my conundrum with this. Samara has a reason-ish to kind of be mad about stuff. Marius just shows the fuck up and drinks Scott Speedman, and like that's like his villain arc. Like that's literally it. Yeah, is that not correct though?
No,
like,
you're right. 100%.
That's true.
Mine would be the bottom because of Marius.
I think Marius weighs him down too much because even the doctor in the last one wasn't nothing great, but he like actually had motivation. There was like the twist, like motivation. This guy's just like, I mean, I guess I don't know what's her name. Kind of had a little bit of like, oh, I'm gonna kill everybody, but like, I don't know. I don't really know, dude. This is a tough one.
Yeah, because I think Samira is a pretty decent villain, but Marius is just again, he is just a knockoff Lucian who just sucks. Yeah.
And he doesn't have the motivation of like, they killed my lover. This motherfucker killed my lover back in the day. Yeah. And he enslaved us.
Yeah.
Like it's not there. Like that's the problem with like, I would almost put these two villains in the same fucking tier on 4 and 5. I don't know, but we can't do that.
I mean, if in that case, I would just say, I say in that case, just put them at the bottom.
Do it.
If you, I mean, they're that close. All right. So Samira.
Do it.
Yeah. Cause Samira has a reason. Marius is just a whiny bitch.
What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, I would put him at the bottom because of Marius. Samara has, like you said, she has the motivation because I think she wants the power of Selene, so she might be able to take over the Coven. Marius, I don't know if he wants to try to take over the Lycans or what the hell his motivation is, honestly. So yeah, I put him at the bottom. Yeah,
he just showed up at work one day.
Yeah.
Like kind of what it feels like we're taking
but they
hybrid.
They didn't fall in love and have dinner 24 hours later. That's the problem.
True. Speaking of which, that should have unless hold on. No, this is a valid point. Unless Marius has some lineage to Corvinus, it should have killed him. This was established in the first film. You can't cross them. You're not supposed to because it kills them. Remember, it talks about later about getting bitten and shit. When they bite each other, it kills them.
I remember somewhere in the early movie, Samara even tells Thomas that she's sick of the whole purification of the races thing or something like that. So I feel like she wants to even mix them.
Yeah, I don't know. I just...
All right. Well, our final rankings for villains is Samara and Marius at number 5, Dr. Lane and Quint from Awakening, Victor from Rise of the Lycans, Victor from Underworld, and Marcus from Evolution. So now we have to do our final ranking on the movies themselves. And currently, our rankings are number 4, Awakening, and number 3, Rise of the Lycans. But here's the twist. At number 2 is Underworld, and at number 1 is Evolution. So where does Blood Wars land on our list? Yes,
bottom.
100%.
Yeah, the bottom.
Had a whole spiel just in case someone had something else to say, but yep, this movie is
okay, Parker. No, it should be number 1. Damn it!
This movie had the biggest disparity between the movies that preceded it.
Yes,
yeah.
No, I agree.
The biggest quality dip, I think, and it's not even for like production value. It's just like story and how everything played out. It was just like you said, it was a mess. The story was a mess.
Realized that the other ones did halfway decent, and they're like, "Hey, we can do this again," and they didn't do it.
Yeah,
I think it's like Parker said when Lynn Wiseman wasn't writing it. I think that hurt it. I believe.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we talked about, throughout this franchise. Is like, our rankings having Evolution at the top, and I think some people will be like, "Oh my god, really? Like, it's not that good." And it's like it's so close. Like Evolution and Underworld are like. They're pretty much the same, but but Underworld Evolution is like the one I think I would go back to the most over the original. And then Rise of the Lycans is pretty close to the other two. Like I really enjoyed Rise of the Lycans, even though it's a prequel, and a lot of prequels are kind of, to me, they're mostly one and done because I don't care anymore. But it's a really well done story. I like. Bill Nye is fantastic. Michael Sheen, seeing him again is fantastic. So, but then when Awakening hits, it's like, ooh, that's when you start to see the product is starting to take a dip. And then Blood Wars is just like, oh my God, somebody save this thing. No saving.
Wasn't Awakening, wasn't it the highest grossing movie of the franchise?
It was.
I think.
It made like $139 million at the box office. It was crazy. Because it had been so long. Because people were like, "Oh my God, Celine's back. Kate Beckinsale's back." Like I said, she is the selling point to this franchise. So I think if they were to make another one, I don't think it's going to do well. If they don't bring back Celine, which to be honest, I don't know if I really want to see. Like, I feel she could do it. She's only in her like early 50s. Yeah. Like, I think she could still do it. I just don't know if I want to see that.
I feel like if they did do another one, they would have to do something with Eve. I don't know if they team them up or maybe she'd take over or something. I don't know.
It's also been too long. It's been 8 years. Like it's over.
Yeah.
Just end it.
Yeah.
I know they're still doing like comics and stuff related to it. If you want to do anything, do an animated series.
Yeah.
Let her voice it.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfectly.
There's actually a graphic novel that you can actually read on the Blu-ray.
Yeah,
like one of the special features is a graphic novel that's connected to this. I didn't get to go through it, but that was pretty interesting. Like there's still Underworld media out there, and there's still the potential of doing more, but we don't need. I don't think any more live action movies is necessary, unless Len Wiseman writes something that is super solid. And currently, he just put out a movie. Or he's got a movie coming out. When is that? We talked about it on one of the episodes that he was.
I remember
something coming out that he's directing. The new John Wick movie, the
right.
Ballerina.
Yes,
he's directing that. So,
can we dance?
Yeah. All right. Well, our final rankings. We got Blood Wars at the bottom. You guys heard the rest of the rankings. I'll say it again, I guess. At number 4 is Awakening. At number 3, Rise of the Lycans. At number 2, Underworld. And at number 1 is Evolution. If you agree with our rankings, hit us up. If you don't, let us know your rankings. Daniel's got his rankings. Let me hear it, Daniel.
Mine's basically the same as yours, except I would flip Rise of the Lycans and Underworld. I would put Rise of the Lycans as number 2.
Ooh.
And Underworld is number 3.
So you have Evolution at the top as well. Very nice.
Yeah. Evolution, I definitely find myself watching it way more than I do the original or Rise of the Lycans.
All right. Cool.
So yeah.
Fair.
I was feeling, I had a feeling that it was going to be like, no, we got to switch Evolution and Underworld. But I like the fact that you got, I know there's quite a few people who actually have Rise of the Lycans pretty high. And I say, I don't disagree. I think it's a really fun movie, and It's really well done as a prequel. There are some issues as we talked about, but it's a solid movie.
Yeah, I think Evolution is probably out of the 4 that she's in. I think it's probably my favorite portrayal of Selene by Kate Beckinsale. I think she's the most badass in Evolution. I think, even though she gets the little extra powers in this movie, I think she's more, capable in the second movie, in my opinion.
Well, that is now fully it for the Underworld franchise. It has been quite a journey going through these 5 movies, and I want to thank Daniel and Old Man Brad for suggesting it in the poll for our franchise coverage. Thank you to everybody who voted for this over Lord of the Rings, because I'm not ready to cover that franchise yet. I'm not sorry, Dan. I'm not sorry. But next week, we are celebrating 4 years of Dissect That Film, which is a crazy thing to think about. We have done over 300 pieces of content for this show, between television, new release movies, live streams, and of course the Court Show, the show that started it all. But next week we get to celebrate 4 years of the show. We got, hopefully we'll have some fun things planned for us to do on that show. Getting some feedback from listeners and maybe have some games going on. And we're going to be doing a live stream to celebrate. So we're going to be doing the episode live on Sunday, May 18th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time over on YouTube. So make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then the full episode video and audio form, well, just the audio version of the episode will be out that Friday to kind of keep the train moving with all of that. But yeah, we're not talking about any specific movie next week, which is always weird because that's just what we do. But we're just going to have a good time. It's going to be a little party over here at Dissect That Film just to celebrate 4 years of the show. And hopefully we'll have a bunch of you to participate in the shenanigans that are going to be at hand. Lastly,
that's great. Yeah, congratulations, guys.
Thank you for being part of this and hanging out with us and suggesting things, listening, giving us feedback. Daniel has been one of the most active members of our little community that we have, so we appreciate him very much, and we are really happy that we finally got you on the show.
Oh yeah, I'm honored to be on here, guys.
It's a long time coming, and it finally happened. And it won't be the last time. He will be back at some point down the road. And yeah, just we're ready to hit year 5. That is the biggest thing. We got a lot of movies. We still got a lot of movies to talk about. Jaws. We got a big month in June because Jaws is celebrating 50 years. And I just booked my hotel to go down to be in Martha's Vineyard June 20th through the 22nd. So I will be down there for the Jaws 50th anniversary festivities. I'm going to try to record some stuff to kind of incorporate into our episode, but we are going to be talking Jaws at some point in June. So that's something I'm very much looking forward to, because that is the episode that I hate the most that we ever recorded because I sucked. Dan was great. I sucked. And it's going to be great to actually redo the episode and kind of incorporate some. What?
That felt really fucking targeted.
I said you were great. I sucked.
It was like a flip flop to the contrary. Like normally I suck.
No, you don't. Shut up.
No, I'm just fucking. Yeah. Damn right.
Oh my goodness. All right. Before I get into all of my end of show stuff, since I've already started doing that, Daniel. Thank you so much for being here and talking Underworld with us. Where can people find you and your wonderful show, Geeks with Beards?
We are on all the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple. We're on YouTube as well. We have a Facebook, Instagram, and we also have a Discord. It's free. You can get on there for nothing and talk about all kinds of stuff, comics and games and wrestling, movies, whatever you want to talk about. So yeah, we'll pretty much just type in the Geeks with Beards podcast and we should pop up just about anywhere, just about.
Perfect. And like I said at the beginning of the show, All the links to everything that has to do with Daniel and Geeks with Beards will be in the description of the episode. So make sure to check it out. It is worth, like I said, if you're a geek, seriously, if you're a geek and you like all those, like comics, toys, movies, all that stuff, it's definitely worth a listen and a watch. So make sure to subscribe to the YouTube and then, subscribe to all the podcast platforms.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Speaking of Discord, we have a Discord. It's actually it's like a community Discord. We have a bunch of awesome podcasters in there. Daniel's in there, and it's very, very similar. We talk about movies, music, video games, pretty much anything in there. So if you want to join that, all you got to do is go to our Patreon at patreon.com/dissect that film and join at the free tier. You don't even have to pay to join, but you just got to go over to that that Patreon, join the free tier, and you'll get an access key to the Patreon or to the Discord, and you can hang out with all of us and have some great conversations in there. As I was saying, we have a Patreon where for $1 you can get early access to uncut versions of the episodes that we have here. So pretty much everything from the pre-show to all the flubs, which I barely cut flubs anyways because I don't care. And just like everything that usually would get cut out of an episode, you get for $1, which I feel is well worth it. And we have some awesome people over on the Patreon, and I'm going to tell you about them. So I want to thank our wonderful patrons over on patreon.com/dissect that film. We have Billy Joseph Jr., Bucket of Chum, the Shark Movie Podcast, Corey Morissette, Daniel Collins, Rudy5453, the Flicks and Friends Podcast, Dan and Angela, Anna Presley, Doom Generation, Eric Stein, Jason, Robert Stewart, and the Baron's Hideout Podcast. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon, and thank you to everybody else for supporting the show, period, for liking, sharing the show, and all that fun stuff. And lastly, I want to talk about the live stream for The Cure one last time. We did mention it earlier, but I want to mention it again. Make sure to check the event out May 16th and May 17th. May 16th from 4 p.m. to midnight, and on May 17th from 8 a.m. to midnight. We will be there May 17th, so that is Saturday at noon. So if you want to see us three doing whatever the heck we're going to be doing for the event, make sure to tune in then. But make sure to just check out the event, period, because it's a great event. There's a lot of amazing podcasters that are doing very cool things to raise money, and it's going to be a good time. So make sure to go over to twitch.tv/livestream for the Cure and follow the page so that you get alerts for when the event is going on. It is exclusive to Twitch. So just make an account just so you can do that, just so you can hang out in those streams and help raise some money. I think that's it. I'm probably missing something. Like I say, every episode, I'm always missing something. I always listen back and I go, yeah, I know what I did. I know what I did, but I'm not adding it in later. The last thing would be go to your favorite podcast app and follow us. Make sure to rate and review the show if you can, because the more ratings we get, the more ears we get into. So make sure to go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, any of those. Leave 5 stars. Leave us a review. We really appreciate it. And we have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/dissect that film, where you can watch the video versions of the episodes, where I like to put in like clips and stuff from the movies. And you can just see us kind of, I wave my hands around a lot. So maybe you want to see that or whatever the hell we're doing on the episode. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, because that'd be cool. We're getting really close to 1,000 subscribers, and that would be awesome if we could hit that before the end of the year, because it's been a long time coming. And lastly, I saw Angela put up the monster figure before. I forgot to mention the Monster Zone, which is our other show that Dan and Angela host, where we spin a wheel and we talk about a monster movie. And we have a bunch of old Patreon episodes that we are re-releasing to the public. So for May, we have our out of the Patreon Vault episode is on 20 million miles to Earth from 1957. And then our freshly recorded episode is on Yongery from 1967, which is with our brand new co-host, Mikey. So make sure to check that out. We have a new logo out for that, so that's going to be flying all over the place. And yeah, we're just we got a lot going on over here. So make sure to, follow us on the social media so you know what's going on with us, and we appreciate you. That's it. I'm done. I think we're done, right? We're done.
Yes, we're done. Let's get the fuck out.
Angela, Daniel, love you. Thank you so much. And until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela, and that is Daniel Collins from the Geeks and Beards podcast. This has been another episode of the Dissect That Film Podcast. We'll see you again on the next one. Bye.
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 I'm going to go get some more leather now.
Leather.